and welcome back to the Wisdom for Humanity podcast series. My name is James Malins. I am the Wisdom Guide, and in this podcast series, we are helping you to get from your present state to your desired state through wisdom, knowledge, and real life experiences. And in this episode, we're talking about dealing with stress. Now, I have a big feeling this episode is going to get a lot of attention. I hope it does, because in this episode, we're going to be talking about exactly how you can deal with stress. And like most of my teachings and my wisdom that I bestow upon people, it's a little bit unorthodox. Sometimes it goes against the grain, and sometimes it makes you totally revolutionize the way you think so that you can get yourself to a better position, a more fulfilled and happy position in life. So the first thing is, what is stress? Right? What is stress? I believe, and I'm open to suggestion, I believe that stress is a reaction to an unwanted or / unexpected situation that we do not have control over. So think about that statement. Right? Stress is a reaction to an unwanted or unexpected situation. Now, if we can control the situation, why would we be stressed about it? If we knew the situation was coming and we could prepare for it, why would we be stressed about it? So, of course, this statement takes into a lot more variables in the sense that even if you prepare for it, you never know if it could happen, and that's why you'd be stressed about it. You know, there's people in your life who you can't control and they're saying stuff to you that you're stressed about it. But if you don't have a control over what people are doing to you and they're doing bad things to you, that's still where the stress is going to come in. You know, if you had control, if you turn around to someone and said, please stop what you're doing, it's hurting me, and they stop, well, what's there to be stressed about? You know, or if a loved one is going through a really difficult time and you can't control it, well, that's where the stress kicks in. Because you get to the point where, because you don't have that control, this is what happens when we have the stress. So why do we feel it? We feel it because of a lack of control. You know, we feel it because we can't control the situation, we can't get ourselves to the point where we're manipulating people's minds, or at least I'm not telepathic, so I don't know if you guys are. So in that understanding, when we can't control people, that's where the stress comes in. That's where the panic comes in, and it kicks in, and we start to, stress through our day. You know, you start your day off, I don't know, you can't find your keys because you can't control the situation, right? Technically you can, but a lot of people don't believe that they can. They're running around frantically, they're going to be late for work, and everything's kicking off because all this stress is being brought up from the fact that they can't control their situation, i.e. they can't get to work on time. Alright, you're getting late for work and all these things are happening. So if they realise that, alright, let's take a moment, let's stop, let's slow down, where did I last have them? And a lot of people don't have that initial slowing down period where they slow themselves and they actually ask themselves the right questions. But anyway, coming back to what is stress, why do we feel it? I believe that stress is something that we feel when we don't have the information to properly analyse and approach a situation. So why can I say that? Because I very rarely get stressed. In fact, I don't think I ever get stressed. I mean, my idea of stress would be, I don't know, if I stub my toe or something like that, or my dog runs off with my socks and I'm chasing Flex down the yard trying to go. That's not even stress. That's kind of like makes me laugh. So I'll be honest with you, I believe very strongly that I've got to the point where I don't stress. Why? Because I understand the mechanics. You know, I understand the mechanics of the universe, how this thing works that we're in, how it manipulates and moves around us, and how it creates itself in front of us. So take, for instance, I crashed my car. I've used this example a lot. I destroyed the front wheel of my left tyre once through going up a curb. I had no idea the curb was there. It was very dark at night. I was down these country roads. It was in the middle of the nowhere. And I ended up going up the side of a curb and totally destroying my left tyre. And I got out of the car and ended up laughing. And as I always tell this story, a lot of people look and they thought to myself, he's probably bonkers, you know, what's he laughing for? But I was laughing because I thought to myself, well, what if I crashed later on down the road? What if a lorry went into me and smashed my skull up against the thing and totally crushed my brains and I was dead? Very graphic, but I wanted it to be like that so you could visualise and see it. So you could visualise that and understand that in that scenario I wasn't even bothered. So what, the tyre was a bit destroyed. You know? The initial stress kicked in and then I realised to myself that whatever happens right now, I'm okay. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to get to the next point in life, and here I am. And, you know, it just comes down to a perspective building exercise, and that is having a look at how bad it could be and being grateful for the fact it's happening. This is really difficult for some people to absorb. Being grateful for the bad things, I mean, come on, you know, James, some people are going to go, that's ridiculous, James, you can't say that. But look, think about it. Something happens, you bust your car up, or, your laptop breaks or something like that, it could always be worse. And I know that's a real cute phrase and you hear it a lot. You hear that all the time, it could always be worse. It's because the teachings in that phrase is trying to creep its way in, right? It's trying to bury itself into our minds, and sometimes we have these barriers up that stop it getting in. Of course it could always be worse. I would like to ask anybody who's on the podcast right now if you've ever gone and slept on the street for a day. Have I done it? No. But it's perspective. I don't have a bed right now. I'm laying on a mattress. Do I care? No. Because I've got a mattress to lay on. I've got a beautiful warm duvet. I've got my dog to keep me warm. Perspective. Some people would be distraught that they don't have a bed. They'd be kicking their legs around, having a tantrum, getting super angry and annoyed and frustrated. It's crazy. This is how we deal with stress. Those people that get stressed over not having a bed, they fail to see that they've got a roof over their head. Or even the people on the streets. They might be stressed that they're on the streets and this is going to be tough for you. And I might think to them, but maybe they've got a coat around them. They've got a little bit of cardboard to lay on. Whereas some people, perhaps out in Africa, have just got a dirt floor. So, and again, that last example, you could say that that was very insensitive. Okay. But look, it's all about understanding the perspective. It's all about getting yourself to a position in life where you see beyond yourself. You see beyond the opinions and the understanding and the chatter that people come out with. Because when you can see past what you are in right now, how can you ever feel stress? Because no matter where you are, you see what you have. And no matter how bad it gets, you see what you have. And you've always got something. Because at the very bottom of it, at the very root, even if you're in a situation where you're stood in a naked, white dimension of space and there's nothing around you, you exist. You have your existence. And that's just to be like ridiculously science fiction right there. The fact that, you be in a... But that's the point. You've always got something. Somebody can always argue. I'm wearing shorts. I've got a t-shirt on. I've got a mic in front of me, hard drive, wires connected to a laptop, connected to the electricity. The electricity is powering my laptop. I have light coming in through the window because I'm in a warm environment and I can use the light and I switch the light on to do these podcast episodes. And for those of you that can't see, obviously you can visualise this in your mind. I'm grateful, always, for what I have. And this is where it comes into stress and being grateful and having perspective is a very interesting mixture. Because when you have gratitude and you have perspective, stress seems to dwindle and then disappear. Because in that moment, nothing else matters. Again, we know in the past episode, we talked about the nice, beautiful horizon, where you look at the horizon and in that moment, you're hearing the birds, you're feeling the wind on your face, the sun is in your eyes. You close your eyes and you feel the warm sun on your eyes. Nothing in that moment matters. And when these stressful situations kick in again, nothing in that moment matters. Someone could be screaming in your face, walk away. Walk away. Again, I could say a very rude word to those people, walk away. Do what you've got to do. And now we come to the question, what can we do to stop feeling stressed and what we can do to stop this stress? And I've obviously mentioned perspective and I've mentioned the idea and the concept of being grateful for what it is you have, but you can also do other things like meditation. We're not going to do a meditation on this podcast episode, but you can do meditation, slow yourself down, calm your thoughts, because your thoughts will take you down a path. And this is the scary truth, all right? Your thoughts will take you down a path that will lead you to inconclusive and ridiculous conclusions. Right? Inconclusive and ridiculous conclusions. You won't have an answer for it. And most of the time, they're just so fictitiously created that none of it ever pans out anything like we thought it did in our mind. So what we've got to understand is, again, coming back to the gratitude and perspective. What do you have right now? What do you have in this moment? Is it easier said than done? Oh, yes. Is it easier said than done? Why does that phrase even exist? What's the point if it's easier said than done? Some of you might right now, you might be thinking I'm talking to you, right? You might have just said it's easier said than done. What's the point in that phrase? Think about the logic. What is the point? When has your life ever been easy? From being born out of, a beautiful human being and being birthed into this world. When was that ever easy? When was screaming through your infant lungs and crying your eyes out for food and milk and to be sustained? When was that ever easy? When was going to school in the unknown when you didn't know what to expect and there was people around you and these teachers are trying to... When was that easy? When was going to school and doing your exams ever easy? When was going to war ever easy? For some of you who might, be 70, 80 years old watching this, and you've been through the First and Second World War, or, 90 to 100 years old. Who knows? Anybody could watch this, and I appreciate you immensely. When was that ever easy? Easier said than done. What's the point? And I know that's a little tantrum and a little rant that I've gone off there, but, that's a really important thing. If for some of you that never use that phrase and you hear people using it, say the same thing to them. It's easier said than done. What's the point in that? And they might be, I'm just saying, it's easier said than done. It's like, yeah, but what's the point? What point are you trying to make? Are you trying to tell me that it's okay not to pursue it? Are you trying to say that it's okay to accept less than what you deserve? Are you trying to say that it's okay that you just sit back and let yourself be miserable and let yourself wallow in self-pity? And of course it's not. And that's not okay with me. Because I don't want people to wallow in self-pity and misery. That's why you're watching and listening to this podcast. Because you want to feel fulfillment. You want to feel and understand the perspective and wisdom that's going to help you to get to where you want to be. We've got to let go of some of these phrases that we've been using over the years. Okay? And when it comes to another method of being able to deal with stress is distance yourself from it. Get away from it. Get away from the stress. If you don't want to feel it, then move yourself in another place. If someone's having a go at you, move yourself. Comes back to the episode before. You have power. You have control. You make the decision. Move yourself. It's easier said than done. What's the point? What's the point in the phrase? What has it being easier or harder than any other task? What has that got to do with it? We're not discussing whether it's easy or hard. We're discussing how to do it. We're discussing how to get through it. And you're focused on whether it's hard or easy. There's no logic there. So this is what we try to do, and this is coming to this episode, is learning to understand the perspective, understand the gratitude, and distance yourself from anybody who's bringing stress to your door. You say, well, James, my situation is I'm at work. What can I do in that situation? If you're stressed at work, have a chat with the people you're working with. They ain't family. Well, no, that's a wrong statement. They could be family. But they're not. If you're working with somebody, it's a different relationship. Even if they are family. If you're working with someone, it's a different relationship. Why? Because this is a professional thing now. It's not got nothing to do with whether you're your best pals after it. This is a professional thing. If you've got a job to do, you've got a job, you work, you have a job to do, and you have something you want to accomplish, the emotions of friendship or family cannot come into it anymore. And I'm not talking about decision making or things like that. It comes down to the graft and the work you've got to do. If you can see and you can understand what's right for you and what's right for the company or right for the job, then make the decision. And if you're fed up with it, you're stressed or whatever, then let them do it. And if they make the wrong decision, again, it's not on you. If you're the decision maker, you make the decision. If they're the decision maker, let them do it. Advise them to the best of your ability and then let them do it. Because people are going to do what they want to do anyway. Why? Because we have no control over them. As much as the, perhaps government and people like that and school would like to think they have control over us, not forever. And not if people don't choose to. They just need the information. Alright, people need the information. In school you were controlled, yes. But now, are you still? I'm not. This is why I say that they don't control you, is because it's your choice. I made the choice when I was at school to be controlled. That's the truth. I made the decision at school to be controlled because I didn't have the information. I didn't know how to get to where I want to be. And I know how I made that choice is because when I finally made the decision not to be controlled, my entire life changed. Not just a little bit of it, not just a little section of it, the entirety of it. If I didn't make that one single decision, I wouldn't be the man stood in front of this camera or speaking to you behind this microphone right now. And you guys have got to understand that. The power is in your hands. The power is in your hands to make the decisions today that are going to make you feel whole tomorrow. And if you don't understand that and you can't accept that, we've got a problem. Because you will lack fulfillment and you won't get to where it is you want to be because you don't have control over yourself. And that's the only person you have control over. The only thing in this world that you have control over is yourself. Because all other forms of manipulation and control, they cause pain and suffering. They cause pain and suffering, and they make that person hate you. And if somebody hates you, you ain't got control on it over them. Because either one day down the road or one time here or there, something's going to happen. And of course, somebody might come up with, the example of people who have been locked away for years and years and years. Yeah, you're right. Can't argue with that. But there's been examples of those people who have got out and now they're living their life. The control was never indefinite. Right? The control, and inside of our minds, people can't control what thoughts we have in our minds. And in saying this, I do understand, and this whole episode, I do understand in saying this, people are going to say, James, you're wrong, of course they have control. Look at the government, look what they've done. You can manipulate people, you can use hypnosis to plant seeds into people's minds so it changes their beliefs. Yeah, I understand all that, and I'm not disputing that, I'm not arguing that. And, as you listen to this episode, you've come here for knowledge. And this is the interesting thing, is we look at all angles. And like I said to you again, as we're going through these episodes, it's as we're discovering new things about the topics, we understand new concepts and ideas. And I understand that. So, you could say this whole episode is obsolete, but I disagree. Because right now, I can think whatever I want and you can't do a thing about it. No one here can do a thing about it. I can think whatever I want. If I want to think about the worst things in the world, I can think about it. If I want to think about chocolate, I can think about chocolate. If I want to think about a computer screen, I can think about a computer screen. No one can control that. They might be able to gently manipulate me, but they can't control me. And a lot of people believe that we are controlled and forever. Well, I'm here fighting it. So if you believe that and you want to make a difference, come and join me on this journey. Not to say that we're creating a revolution here, or maybe we are. But still, we have to understand from all angles, and I appreciate every single comment. And even as I'm talking, I'm trying to look at everything. As I'm talking and feeding this wisdom and information to you guys on how to deal with stress, it's about understanding from everyone's perspective, because this information might not be right for everybody. Some people it might be amazing, some people it might not resonate with them, and that's fine. That's always going to happen. And that's another way of dealing with stress. If you're trying to control people, trying to make them love you and like you, let it go. Let go of the stress associated with that. Easier said than done. That's not why we're here. We're here to understand how to do that. Perspective. Gratitude. Distancing yourself from it. These are all things of helping you to get to where it is that you want to be. And the bottom line of this episode, the bottom line of this understanding is you have control. Comes back to the inner self, comes back to the self of you. You've got control. And love that and appreciate that. Appreciate the control you have over yourself, because if you don't, it's going to make your life a hell of a lot harder than what it is right now. So listen guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. I know we took it down a little journey, there might have been a bit of hypocrisy until we understood the true concept in the end, but I'm glad you stuck with me, and I hope that you appreciate and understand that this is a place for you to better understand yourself and learn more about yourself. And if you think that, this is here dictating to you, then just watch this episode again. Listen again, and you will prove to yourself, I won't have to say a thing, you'll prove to yourself that it's always an open mind here, and we help you to get to where you want to be through wisdom and perspective. And sometimes we need a bit more wisdom to do so. We need a bit more information. So listen guys, for this episode, a call to action, go and follow me on Instagram. If you love checking people out on Instagram, come and follow me on Instagram. I love to have a chat with you guys, to follow you, have you see what you think about my content. I always put wisdom, guidance, love, videos, quotes, pictures, all kinds of beautiful stuff on there. And you will sometimes have a good old funny story to have a laugh at. So I like to have a bit of fun in this life, and I like to share with people the wisdom and knowledge to help them to get to where they want to be. So make sure you go straight into the next episode if it's already out. If you're waiting for it, do not worry. It will be out very, very, very soon. And listen, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Take care of yourselves. I love every single one of you. And I will see you in the next episode.